morning on this Monday, on this holiday that some folks are celebrating, some folks are not celebrating. But anyway, welcome to the morning show. I'm Marshall Shore.
And I'm Melissa Farley. We're here at the fabulous Arizona Center. Yeah.
And we've got some fun stuff. We have a really cool guest in just a minute.
We do have a really cool guest coming up here shortly. But happy Monday, first and foremost. Thanks for starting your week off with us today.
Whether you're off from work for President's Day or not, doesn't matter. We're just happy you're...
Is that a thing still? Do people still have President's Day off?
Well, if you're like government and a bank, so it's like a bank holiday.
It's like a bank holiday. Okay. Yeah. I feel like I've ever had a President's Day off in my life.
So don't go get your mail today because you can't.
You can't do it. All right. Well, there's 5 minutes of your life back that you can just enjoy as your mini holiday if you're not off today.
That's right.
Yay.
Go shopping in those 5 minutes.
So did I tell you what I started last week? And I'm on a streak now. Did I tell you about this?
You're streaking now?
No, I said I'm on a streak.
Oh, okay.
I was like, have I ever streaked? I don't know. Have I? No. I've skinny dipped. I have not streaked.
Okay.
Okay. No, I started getting up at 4 a.m. again and working out in the morning and meditating, yoga, journaling.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how are you doing?
Pretty good. I had to take a nap at like 8:30.
That sounds like me. I'm like,
but I'm you know what? I'm proud that I'm committing to this and that I'm having like some me time, because remember how frazzled I've been like the last month?
Do.
Yeah, so this feels like it's helping. I'm centering a little bit. So if you have any morning routines that you love to start your day with, please share them with us. We love to hear about things on, you can hit us up on Instagram actually at On The Morning Show, or
email. What if they wanted to email us something? How could they do that?
hello at onthemorningshow.com is how you send us an email. So we'd love to hear about your morning rituals as well. But before we do any more talking and blabbering and laughing,
should we take a break?
Yeah.
All right, so let's do that.
Let's do that. I was going to say farting. We like to talk about farting.
Hello and welcome back on this Monday morning to the morning show. I'm Marshall Shore.
And I'm Melissa Farley. We're at our favorite place, the fabulous Arizona Center. I didn't trip you up that time either.
I was getting all excited because we're here.
You waited for the
hands.
And
we were talking about donuts earlier, and so donuts.
Okay. Well, you got to wait a little bit longer for some donuts, but I've got a treat to placate you while you wait for your donuts. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Jason Lalli's here.
Ooh, piece of candy. Speaking of treats,
right? Yeah, I guess that does work.
Indeed.
Pun unintended, but yes, that does work.
Well, very much intended.
Hi, Jason. How are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you? Thank you for having me today.
Yeah, thanks for being here. So, tell us a little bit about you. You and I were actually chatting about your tattoo before the segment started, and you've got some brains.
Yes, I do. I got two brain planets. It says "Still Alive." The tattoo basically is a representation of my story.
Yeah.
I endured 4 traumatic brain injuries in 16 months, starting in 2018. One of which was a near internal decapitation. So this is my story. I did die, and I do remember the other side. Not clinically, but you don't get to take my memories away from me either, right?
Yeah. So
yeah, it's a pretty extensive tattoo. It says "Still Alive" on it. The brain planets represent all 4 of those brain injuries, and it's the testament to my journey and being able to overcome. You know that a traumatic brain injury survivor is 400 times more likely to suicide. So every butterfly represents, some were darker, some ideations were darker than others. So I wear that as proudly as I do any physical scar. So you know, it's a conversation starter.
Yeah, for sure. I don't even know what to ask first. My brain went in like 17 different directions.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my gosh.
Okay, so you said, I'm going to ask the most obvious one and then we'll go a little deeper.
Yeah, of course.
You said an internal decapitation.
Yes, a near internal decapitation. So I used to be a valet manager at a private country club for 15 years. And to make a long story short, I was chasing someone down in a sense of urgency situation, and they had done a lot of construction in the parking lot and had a white nylon clothesline rope up. And I caught that running full speed, which is at least 15 miles an hour. I'm very fast, right at the neck. So it dragged half of my esophagus and half of my neck, caught me at the jaw, and the body kept going, and the head stayed, so went.
Oh.
And so I hit the ground. I did have memory of the accident. When I hit the ground, then that's when I went to the other side. So it was pretty. I have a very intense story.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah. Does everybody do that? Like, I feel like everybody kind of goes.
Everyone,
like,
just the beauty about being able to tell my story, right, and the testimony about it is watching the reactions of people and really seeing the awe that people have. One, that I'm able to show up the way that I do with the articulation and as much of the healing that I've done. But two, just to be able to survive it and tell the story is a miraculous thing, and then alchemize it. Like, I'm a traumatic brain injury life coach and consultant as well. So I've taken all of the things that I've gone through that I'm fortunate to survive that so many don't. And it didn't take my articulation, so I get to share a lot of the things that I've learned and help others and guide them through their journey and their darkness.
What was that process like? Because I imagine having that happen to you, having your life change so dramatically and drastically in probably so many thousands of small and big ways.
Yes.
And then now being in this place where you are here and able to help other people, like, can you talk about that process and how you kind of, I don't know, like, evolved through that?
Yeah, absolutely I can. So when I first had traumatic brain injury, a lot of people with traumatic brain injury, they just say, I feel off. They don't know how to express what they're experiencing, because your brain is your processor, right? So it is determining everything about you, internally and externally, how you're processing information and all of that. So until I went to cognitive therapy, I didn't know that I was moderately to severely cognitively impaired in being able to process information, problem solving, memory recall, memory retention, and word finding. And so I had a long journey ahead of me. I'm a spoken word artist, so I perform poetry, I'm an author, I'm a motivational speaker. So, and I used to teach social emotional learning. So self-awareness was already ingrained in me. So that was a really big part of my journey, was having to go in deep, having to find out all the little ways that I changed, from emotional volatility and irregulation to the fact that nothing was logical or rational, and that everything was very intense, and that, quite frankly, I had to grieve the death of the old me, and so that was a very difficult thing to do, to accept that the version of me that once existed is no longer here because parts of my brain have been damaged, and I'm rewiring new parts of my brain. So it was a journey of self-acceptance, it was a journey of denial, it was a journey of perseverance, and it was a journey of really, it really exposed to me the people in my life that really weren't there for me, right? And so when they say when you go in your hardest times, that's when you find out who's there for you. And so I had to learn true surrender and flow, to let go of all of my attachments, and to just allow the universe to operate in all of the ways that it operates beyond my human expectation. And the biggest part that was the shift in my brain injury journey was when I changed my relationship with my brain injury. Instead of vilifying it, right, treating it like I'm fighting it, that I'm in this constant battle, instead I shifted it to, it's a part of me. And it's never gonna go away. And I don't have to explain that to people. I didn't die to come back and not love myself, right? And so now, I really truly accept who I am in those ways. And I embrace my brain injury. I love my brain injury as a part of me, as I love all parts of me, right? So it's been a tremendous journey.
Yeah, tremendous indeed.
Yeah,
I know. So I have to ask because
Ask away.
Anne knows I'm actually, I've been in the process for a long time now of writing a book about death, and I'm talking to a lot of people that have different death experiences.
Yes.
I'll probably ping you for that on a separate thing. But you said you remember.
I do.
Are you able to share a
Yeah,
little bit
absolutely.
about that?
And thank you for asking. I think that's a part of the journey that it's important to share. I actually had no memory of my death until about 3.5 to 4 years later, because my brainstem woke back up, which was a very intense experience. It manifested in non-epileptic seizures. So I went and did all of the testing to figure out what was going on. All of my doctors said just let it out. So for a month, I just kind of like shook violently at night for hours. And then it moved into contortions where my body literally started to clear physical body trauma, right? I forgot the question. It's a brain injury thing.
No, remembering your death experience.
Okay, so
yeah.
that's when the near-death experience came back to me, is when I was reliving through the contortions. So what was happening is like as my body started to put things back together, like my thumb, my collarbone, a little piece in the back of my head right here kind of flipped down. So I was kind of noticed that what I was going through was very uncommon. Right, and so I started to videotape it and record what was, because I really felt like I needed to be researched, and I will share these videos at some point in time. I am writing a book on this.
Okay.
So I was contorting one night, and I was taking a car to Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, and I had contorted for 30 minutes, and that's when I heard it. It was like a voice. You know, we all have, you know, they say listen to your intuition because it speaks to you, right?
Yeah.
I hear it as a literal voice now. And I kept telling people through my brain injury, I'm here, but I'm not here. I'm here, but I'm not here. So when the brainstem woke up, I came back. And it said, well, when you died, and I said, I didn't die. And it said, when your head turned. And when I hit the ground, I put my head like that, and then I turned it to the right. And that's how I relived my death as well, is when my head turned to the right. So I looked at the video, and sure enough, that's what happened. So I recorded the next part of that night, and that's when I relived it. And so I looked to the right. It was the hottest, brightest light I'd ever felt. And I looked to the left, and it was the darkest dark, coldest cold. I did that 3 times. I was on the other side for about 6 seconds. I did not feel any sense of humanity. I just felt comfort and peace, like I was home, right? And hindsight 2020, because you can imagine I've relived this a million times inside of my head since, trying to make sense of it. And I've come to the conclusion that I returned to being universal energy. That if I were to be next to a star like our sun and it was on my right, it would be the hottest, brightest light I'd ever felt. And if I were to look to the left, what would be to my left? There would be zero heat source. There would be zero light. It would be the dark vastness of space. And so that's what I experienced. And so ever since then, I have nothing but peace and gratitude. Even though I've lost everything, I had to get a divorce, I had to quit my job, I had to sell my home. I struggled to survive every day, but I still live with peace and gratitude because I trust and love myself and the understanding that I have overcome 100% of everything I've ever been through. It's easy to forget that.
Yeah. Wow. So
Yeah.
I can see your brain working, Marshall.
I'm like, there's just, I mean, it's like, and then your stem started waking up. It's like, so you kept these processes that you're not even aware of what's going on. Suddenly, your body's like, okay, well, now we're going to do this. And we're kind of doing some therapy that you don't even understand what's happening until.
Yeah. It's like I've just been along for the ride. And that's actually, I know you guys had Brian from Revive You Wellness Spa on. I work there as well.
Okay.
So that's how I got linked up with Brian, is my cranial sacral massage therapist said, you should go do some salt float. And anybody with a traumatic brain injury, I strongly encourage you to look into sensory deprivation salt floats. They're incredibly helpful. We need the brain breaks. We need the information to get turned off so that the brain can stop processing and catch up and rest. And so what I didn't know it would do is how much it would relieve all of the pain in my neck, because all those muscles were strangulating my lower brain. So I've done 230 salt floats in the last 2.5 years, and it's truly changed my life. And so I actually work there. I do the event coordinating over there as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we were talking about Anne earlier. She does a little yoga, trauma yoga for women over there every Wednesday, which is really great. And we do a lot of other men's circles, women's circles, breathwork classes, stuff like that.
Yeah, I love your space, and I haven't done a float yet, but I keep wanting to. That's been on my list for a while. I have a question, and you don't have to answer it or not, but were you this mindful and aware before your accident, or was this something that kind of started developing after it happened?
Good question. And first, I'll thank you for the compliment. Right?
Welcome.
Because it is a compliment to say that I'm so mindful and aware. And I appreciate that, because in this world, there aren't a lot of people that are mindful and aware, especially into the levels in which I have had to learn. I was, to a degree.
Yeah.
Because I did teach social emotional learning. I did teach bullying prevention in schools. I wrote a book on kids being bullied in schools, and I used to teach a 3.5-month bullying prevention program. And I used to run a nonprofit doing all of that. So it's like my life had prepared me for this. And I had been trained at UC Berkeley in about 36 hours of professional education, continuing education on social emotional learning. So I was really in tune with myself. I was really in tune with people socially. And so you can imagine, when I used to teach a lot of life skills too, that to find that the life skills that I was teaching were more for mental health instead of brain injury, and they're two totally different kind of, and we have to actually incorporate both. And so I was really floundering for a while, trying to figure out how to manage what was going on with me. But I will say that my self-awareness and mindfulness really grew because of brain injury, because my body thermal regulation was off, because I couldn't process information very well, because I had to learn why the rage was showing up, which was the depletion of my brain battery, which means that I would go into neurofatigue, which would create a full exacerbation of my symptoms. So I would no longer be able to process information. So it didn't matter what my ex-wife said to me, it mattered that she said anything to me, because I would have to process that, and that would feel like an attack. And so I would show up as a trauma version to protect myself. And so I would scream and yell, and it really hurt me to be emotionally abusive towards my family in those ways. And it really hurt them, and I always tried to take accountability, but it was the compassion that I needed to work on the most. Accountability wasn't my issue. It was the compassion, that's a symptom of my brain injury, and that my symptoms are not my character.
Yeah. So
how do you have Jason before and Lalli now?
Yes.
How do there must be crossover.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you handle that?
So there's like the identity piece, right?
Yes, exactly.
So as the identity piece, part of what has happened is my traumas got unlocked in really tremendous ways, because it was like an earthquake. I thought I had processed my traumas, but really I had compartmentalized them and put them in boxes on a shelf. And then brain injury happened, and it was the earthquake. So it shook all of them out, and all the boxes fell out, and all the trauma came out and bonded with me seamlessly, right? And so I had to really dig into that, and I came across a therapy modality called internal family systems, IFS. And what that does is it breaks down the different parts of you, right? It's not just dissociative identity disorder. Those parts believe that they are their own identity. The parts of us that we all have because of trauma, we psychologically fracture when we experience trauma because it's intolerable. Okay, what that does is it creates a different version of us, like an inner child, the shadow part. So when you're trauma triggered, when you're experiencing a trauma or something that is reminding you of the trauma that you experienced, that version of you shows up and takes over. Have you ever heard someone say oh, you were someone else? Or you've said you weren't even yourself. Yeah, they got trauma triggered, and their trauma version showed up to protect them. Yeah. And so that's who you saw. So you talk about the identity piece, right? Well, I recognize all parts are a part of me. So I've had to go into the work. I've done the work. I recognize where those parts show up. When they show up, I'm present in that moment. point, and I engage with them and I acknowledge their presence and I say, thank you for showing up to protect me. I just want you to know I love you. I want you to know I didn't know you were here. And you know, can I give you a hug? And do you hear how I asked him a question? I give them agency and autonomy. I ask them and let them engage in a new relationship with me. So we rebuild that. And what I'm doing is, instead of going like EMDR into that depth of the exposure therapy, what I'm really doing is I'm going into the memory where that part holds. So I don't have to go so deep into the memory. As I reparent the relationship with that part, I'm shifting my narrative with my trauma.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's really, I went on a retreat last year for my birthday, and one of the meditations that we did was very similar, where you kind of almost picture a space and host a dinner party, and then whoever shows up, you ask them if they want a seat at the table, and you kind of have a conversation with them and acknowledge them. And that was really, a lot of the women had been through cancer and other, you know, traumas, and that was the first time they had experienced something like that, with engaging with that part of themselves in that way. So okay, I have one last question, and it's just because I'm genuinely curious. You know, a lot of times when people experience something like this, there's not a whole lot of holistic care that happens, and so I'm sure you had a lot of great medical teams that were dealing with the actual injury, but I mean, were you your own advocate as far as kind of figuring out the trauma part of it and all of the holistic pieces, or was that something that they are aware of and kind of worked with you?
I would say that when it comes to the medical industry and brain injury, they have a lot to learn. And one of the biggest things they have a lot to learn is that anecdotal experience is everything. That what I communicate to you, you don't get to dismiss. And there's a lot of doctors doing that. Yeah. So it's actually very harmful and more traumatic to the brain injury survivor who's spiraling and had a tornado come through their life and literally throw all of the basic functioning that they ever had, that were all those little parts of themselves, right? They don't know who they are anymore, and they're trying to figure that out. So there were some doctors that were very helpful for me, like Dr. Amy Thomas with the Arizona Vision Therapy Center down in Tucson. She helped rewire my brain. I had my traumatic brain injury counselor. I had my cranial sacral massage therapist, my acupuncturist. So I've really went down the rabbit hole there, but I had to advocate. So much of that wasn't covered by insurance. Even hyperbaric oxygen therapy, when I was trying to do that, I had to get a medical sponsor because I had 5 areas in my brain that had 40% or less blood flow than it should. And so I had to be my own advocate. And in many ways, because I had to be my own advocate, there were some things that I really missed out on, like a multi-million-dollar lawsuit that I definitely had with the country club. But clearly that wasn't meant to be a part of my journey. I needed to learn the things that I needed to learn the hard way so that I could gain the wisdom that I have, so that I could share it with you, so that I could share it with other people, so that I could show up, because I'm a nano influencer online, sharing traumatic brain injury survivor experiences. And I never thought I'd become the voice for the voiceless, as they show up and say, how are you saying what I couldn't for 20 years? You know, and I'm just, like I said, peace and gratitude, right? So yeah, I had to do this alone. And I never settled for a doctor. If I could tell a doctor wasn't in my corner, they were gone. And I would encourage anybody who's going through any circumstance, whether it's brain injury, especially invisible chronic illnesses, to continue to advocate for yourself. If you do not feel seen and heard by your doctor, they gotta go. They gotta go. There are other doctors out there, and they will help you. Find a doctor who invests in you. It's important.
That's very important. Well, Jason Lalli, I feel like we could sit here and talk to you all freaking day and like host a seminar around you. But
thank you.
Why don't you share with our viewers how they can connect with you and learn more about you and continue to hear more of your inspiring journey.
Awesome. Well, first and foremost, thank you for having me on this show. I could tell just how involved you were with this, my story, and so that means a lot to me. Thank you. I appreciate it, especially the genuine, sincere inquisitions that you had. For the followers to be able to follow me, you can follow me on TikTok or Instagram under Vulnerably Lalli. That's Lalli. You can follow the same thing on YouTube. My business website is decisivelife.org, or you can follow me on Facebook under Jason Lalli, Lalli. Either way, I'm going to keep putting out this content, and I'm just going to keep showing up to support people in community and encouraging you to love yourself, advocate for yourself, and continue to just learn and grow through all that life is teaching you.
Ooh, we'll talk about a Motivation Monday. All right.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Not a holiday here.
No, we are on fire here at the morning show. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back after this with the rest of the episode for you. We'll see you when we get back.
Hello and welcome back to the morning show on what an intense Monday we've had so far.
But good intense.
Oh yeah, no,
Yeah.
I don't use not in a bad way, but it's like just fascinating.
I feel like ready to go take on the world. I also feel ready to seriously do a whole conference around him. Like we could.
I just want to sit and just keep asking questions and.
I know. Yeah. Well, I am writing a book kind of all about death and different elements of death, and I would love to have him on the podcast that we're going to start doing about that. So I hope to bring him back. That would be awesome. But okay, let's switch gears just a little bit and celebrate some stuff.
Celebrate some things. Oh my gosh. All right, so first up is, have you ever heard of the National Crab Racing Association, the NCRA?
Is that exactly what it sounds like?
Indeed.
Like actual crabs
yes.
that race? No,
So today
I've not heard
is
that.
basically where they have championship crab races. They put the crabs under a bowl, they pull it up, and then there's all these heats, and so the winning crab from here then gets thrown into the next.
Is this just like
race.
a totally random thing, or can you train a crab to be a good racer?
Actually, the NCRA helps you train your crab.
Okay.
So it's not just go find a crab and at random, but no, you want to.
We might have found my new life's pursuit, Marshall.
But just don't let them pinch you, because
Ow. Yeah.
Indeed.
That's fun. Okay.
And then today is also National Random Act of Kindness Day.
Oh, I like that.
Exactly, because it's like, just by complimenting a stranger, nice smile, nice tie, it can change somebody's whole day just by those few words.
And here's an invitation. Don't just keep it to today. Do it every day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Christmas. Don't do it just one day, but do it all year long.
All year long.
Yeah, send somebody a handwritten note. So, because it's just that little bit of that ripple effect of that boosting of someone's self-esteem and your own. So.
I was going to say, and you feel good when you do stuff like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. And then I know how much you like food.
I do.
So today is Cabbage Day.
As in like corned beef and cabbage, or just
Well,
raw cabbage?
Well, it's the cabbage, whether you want to choose to celebrate the Brussels sprout, the broccoli, the cauliflower, the bok choy, the kohlrabi, or kale.
I do like Brussels sprouts.
So here's your day where you can just go, and so many cultures have. I mean, from sauerkraut to...
I don't know that I realized they were all cabbages.
I didn't either until I started. It's like, Brussels sprouts are really easy.
You said it like it was so well. I was like, oh, I didn't know.
I was like, oh yeah, they're all
Okay.
part of the same family. Huh. I mean, and the other day when I went out in Mesa to the All Pierogi Kitchen and got a cabbage roll.
Oh my God, those are. You were out by me. Yes, I love All Pierogi Kitchen, and the cabbage rolls are incredible. The pierogies are incredible.
And the borscht. I mean, the fact they
everything's
had
so good
green
there.
and red borscht was so good.
I love their little market that's right next door.
The tarragon soda. Yeah.
all amazing.
And all the beers I've never heard of.
You know, it was funny the other day. It was like 2 weeks ago. We were my husband and I were going for a walk, and he was like, "What do you want for dinner?" I was like, "I'm just craving a cabbage roll." Like, what an odd thing to crave.
Actually,
but,
no.
Oh my gosh, I just wanted it, and it was perfect. It was perfect.
Well, you know, and so in New York there was Veselka, and so that's where you'd always wind up, and so or the Ukrainian National Home, and Quinn from Local First, her family actually managed Veselka
Oh,
at one
interesting.
point. So it's like we
Small
got
world.
talking about pierogies, and she's like, well, you know,
Yeah.
so
Oh, how funny.
yeah.
Yeah.
So go have yourself a cabbage roll.
Do. You will not regret it. It's delicious.
Yeah, I'm not gonna be able to get there today, but I'm like, I need to get out there.
And-
And I will let you know next time I go out there.
Please
because
do.
I didn't realize you were.
Oh, I
your
would.
neck-
Yeah, I'm like 5 minutes away. I would have totally met you over there. Yeah.
Oh.
I need no excuses to go have pierogi ever.
Well, there you go. No, and the variety they have were so good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like potato, but then it's like potato with all of the mushroom, the cheese.
We try like a different assortment pretty much every time
Yeah.
we go.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So many good options.
So
And then also it's President's Day.
that's right.
So you know it used to be actually on George Washington's birthday, but then they decided to actually move it to the middle of
Yeah.
because last week we celebrated Lincoln's birthday.
Yep.
And so now it's George Washington's
Oh
birthday.
yeah, and the pennies and all that.
Yeah, exactly.
Although, did you hear they're not making
I
pennies
know
anymore?
now no more pennies.
No more pennies. Sorry, Abe.
So I don't know what I'm going to squish now in the little machines.
Not a penny.
Not pennies. Well, I've got a stockpile of.
I was gonna
pennies.
say, yeah, I've got a jar like
Yeah.
full of pennies.
Yeah.
but-
So I will never find that many squished penny machines. I hope.
That sounds like a challenge.
I know. I'm kind of like, oh, squish penny marathon.
I challenge you to find
I know.
squish pennies.
Everywhere you go. So yeah. So now it's one holiday that celebrates both presidents, and you know some businesses close, some don't. However you're celebrating, enjoy it. You know, maybe you want to research your favorite president and just find out more about them.
That is one way to celebrate. Yeah,
And so I don't think anyone's doing like presidential trivia.
you could. That could be your thing.
Well, there you go. Maybe I'll throw together some trivia.
Yeah.
Aw, man. Oh my gosh. All right. And so now we've celebrated, let's talk a little bit of Arizona history.
Nice timing, Theo.
All right, so we all know Arizona became a state in 1912. Actually, just a few days ago was the Statehood Day, the anniversary. But on this date, back in 1913, up near Prescott, they uncovered a prehistoric grave site that had skeletons that were 8 feet tall.
Why were they so tall?
Because they were tall.
No, but see, like what? Okay, fine skeleton belonging to a giant race.
Yeah, and so and the article goes on to mention how it was not the first time they found these in the area. There was another skeleton they had found elsewhere, but there were beads. They found all kinds of things, and so I'm just kind of like, well, why isn't there more talk about this?
I know.
Why did I just was like randomly searching on what happened in Arizona
How
today?
do we know they're like alien gray?
Well, that's
skeletons?
actually I'm like going, I couldn't find photos, so now I want to go find photos because I'm like maybe there is.
Well, they're clearly not my ancestors. I do
Well,
not come from
no.
8 foot tall
No.
lineage, but
But I was just kind of like, oh, that's so interesting.
that is interesting. Yeah.
So yeah, so it's one of those things where finding this out, I'm like, well, now I need to do a deeper dive on.
I was just gonna say, dive into that a little
Yeah, because
deeper,
I'm like, well, now
curious.
it's like, well, is that area marked? Can you go see it? What happened to those skeletons?
Well, that's what I was gonna ask you. Where are
Yeah,
they?
I don't. That was the article didn't give anything, but now I know that. Of course, I find it out when nothing's open, so I can't call Historical Society or
Yeah. Okay.
State Archives, but
stand by. We will have updates on these 8 foot tall skeletons because that is intriguing. That's really weird.
That's quite intriguing because
Yeah.
it's like, okay,
Especially like historically people were smaller usually back in the day, so that's
right. So that's why it was just kind of like, what?
Yeah.
And then doing a deeper dive, and I'm like, okay. And so what happened to them? Or maybe they all trucked them over to Area 51.
I love our conspiracy theories.
Yeah, with no foundation in anything. But it just makes you go,
No, it does.
Things that make you go, So,
Well, I have more things to have you do a little happy dance. Let's talk about some things to do.
Some things to do. What could we be doing?
All right, this one I thought was actually really cool. We're back at our friends Snakes and Lattes at 6 p.m.
Is it presidential bingo?
It is not. It is. This is for if you are at all interested in designing your own game. So if you've got like a board game idea,
Like the guy we had on.
exactly,
Yeah.
like Benson, you can come join. It's a board game designer night. You can meet local designers and connect with them, share about your ideas. It's open to the public, not just designers. So yeah, if you've kind of just been harboring this, this wackadoodle idea about a fun little board game, this is probably a great place to meet some connections to make that actually come alive in the world. So if you're a game designer, you get in for free. If you are a player, it is $3 and it's from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. So
So it's not just, but also it's players, so you could play these games in their really raw form.
yeah, that's what I was thinking too, is
That would
these
be
designers
that would be
probably have
fun.
prototypes that you could test out and yeah,
Wow.
so which is really cool. And then another one that I thought is really cool is The Power of Poison at the Arizona Science Center. This is happening in the morning. It kicks off at 9:30 a.m. So basically, you are invited to kind of explore the captivating and often paradoxical world of nature's toxic arsenal, which is poison. So through live performances, interactive dioramas, this is a spellbinding exhibition that will take you into familiar and novel tales of illness, enchantment, and death by poison. This is running for some time, so you don't have to rush like right away today to go experience this.
Okay.
So it's about $30 for adults, 25 for kids, and there are discounts for military and students and all that good stuff. I'm absolutely gonna go see this.
Well, we should go together. I'm also, it's like, they could do like a little film festival like Arsenic and Old Lace.
I know, yeah.
And just I was like, there could be so many tie-ins to that.
Oh no, I'm totally intrigued. This is 100% something that I am obsessed with. So yeah.
Oh gosh, and then you have, and then all the VC Andrews, the Flowers in the Attic stuff.
Yep. No, we should definitely go. That would be really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, we'll figure out when to make that happen. Okay, if you're braver than I am, it is open mic night at the Yucca Tap Room in Tempe.
The Yucca, love the Yucca.
Yeah, it's a classic. You can, show off your finest talents or test the waters with some new material if you want. It is a great way to connect though with the local music scene at one of Arizona's longest standing open mics. Acoustic acts are preferred. There's 2 amps max, and then you can bring kits, and it's 3 songs or 15 minutes per act. So you get...
And also build in time, because that's in Danielle Plaza, and there's all this art that's there.
Yeah.
That may not be there much longer. There's right now some negotiations going on in terms of what the future of that plaza looks like.
You've also got Electric Bat Arcade.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So go soak up the art while it's still there, because it may not be there much longer.
Yeah, that's kind of sad. But it is, Yucca Tap Room's like an institution.
Yeah,
so,
no, exactly.
You do have to be 21 plus, and there is a cover charge. I don't actually know what the cover is. But yeah, 8 p.m., and it's going to be a good time. This one, I really wish I could skate and was more coordinated. I'm just not. But they are doing a President's Day glow skate at Skateland in Chandler. at 2:30 p.m. So if you're off, maybe you've got kids, or you're just a grown adult who loves roller skating.
You know, you could practice right here at the Arizona Center. There is the roller.
I could practice, and I actually have a very beautiful pair of skates that I bought because during the pandemic, because I thought roller skating might be like my new thing. I'm terrible at it. I'm really bad.
Oh, yeah, no. But I was like, yeah, but if you want, you should bring them and go downstairs and.
No, I should. Well, I need the walker thing. Like
yeah, no, I completely agree.
But this is a fun one. You can wear red, white, and blue and get a free glow stick. It's pretty cheap too. Admission's only $10. A skate rental is $5. For if you are an adult and you want to bring your kids but you don't want to skate, it's just $4. So you know.
See, look at that. You could take your skates and save $5.
I could, yeah. I don't know. Maybe do they let you bring your own skates? Some places don't.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, some places require you to use their skates, but. Okay, and this next one is a little bit of art. It's the Square exhibit at the Herberger Theater Center in Phoenix. This exhibit is focused on artwork that is square in size, and it's featuring the work of 29 local Arizona artists. It is on display through March 2nd, and you can see the exhibit anytime the theater's open, so basically from 12 p.m. to 4:30 p.m., and it's free to attend. The artwork is available for purchase, so if you see something you want to take home with you, you absolutely can and should.
It could be on your wall.
It could be on your wall.
Nice.
Yeah. So fun little assortment of presidential day activities that have nothing to do with the presidents at all, but that's okay.
Exactly, because it's a day to just go out and enjoy.
Yeah. Be the president of your own day.
Exactly. All right, so let's do some birthdays.
Wake up, hey, it's your birthday. Jump up, go have a great day. Everyone has come to see you. Make a wish and hope it comes true.
Now, you know, neither of us are really big sports fans, but there are some names that we all know, regardless of your interest in basketball, football, hockey, or any of those.
Will I really know this person?
Yeah.
Okay.
Michael Jordan.
Oh, yeah, I know
Yeah.
Michael.
See,
Okay.
exactly. I mean,
Yep.
Chicago Bulls, kind of everybody knows who he is. I mean, he's also not just played for the Chicago Bulls, but has 2 Olympic gold medals
I didn't know that.
and was part of as part of the American Dream Team, playing
Okay.
basketball in the Olympics. And he is 61 years old today.
Well, happy birthday, Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
I bet he's still in better shape than I am.
Oh, I didn't even think of that, but yeah.
Yeah.
I have no doubt. So, also, music lovers, Billy Joe Armstrong.
Green Day. I used to have such a crush on him. Oh my gosh. A guy that can rock some good black eyeliner, I'll take it.
And he is 52 years old today.
No, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh.
Like now you're like rethinking. It's like, oh, that crush. Maybe not so much of a crush now.
Well, I just, you know, when you're young, you're like, this could happen. This is possible. And now I'm like, oh, God. That would have been really creepy.
Indeed. And then another celebrity that's a socialite. Her family owns lots of hotels.
Oh, well.
So, and pink is her color of choice, or maybe even some would say her poison.
I do agree with the pink. Yeah.
So Paris Hilton.
Happy birthday, Paris
I
Hilton.
mean, basically, she has been on so many reality shows including the Simple Life, as well as had a sex tape leaked with her then boyfriend, Rick Solomon, and she is 43.
Okay.
So.
Doing the mom life now.
Indeed. And she just keeps going. And then for other music, another name you'll probably know, Ed Sheeran.
I do know that one. Yep.
And so he is 33 years old.
I'm older than Ed Sheeran? All right.
So yeah,
feel
I
good
mean,
about
and
that.
I didn't realize he got his big hit, kind of his kickstart by appearing on Taylor Swift's one of her albums.
Oh, I didn't know that either.
And so that's where he got his chops, and then
I'm
went
not a
on to
Swiftie,
produce
so I don't think I would know that. But
several records.
Yeah.
But yeah, if Dylan was here, he would have known that.
He
Probably could
totally
even
would have
tell us
known
what
that.
song, maybe even sing some of that song
I'm sure
for
he
us.
would have.
But
Yeah.
so
He at least would have rolled his eyes that we didn't know that.
Right. Oh,
Yeah.
of course. And then he went on to launch his own record label, Ginger Man Records.
That's
So yeah.
a perfect name.
So
for
yeah.
it.
So you're older than him.
I am. I keep finding
Wow,
that out
you're
lately,
old.
though. I am old.
Wow.
Getting to be an old lady, Marshall. Just two old folks up here.
You're just saying you need the walker? I know. Oh my
For
gosh.
skating,
Well,
for skating.
Oh.
I know.
I thought the little trailer of oxygen tank soon.
Actually, oxygen always sounds like a lovely idea. Whenever I see like oxygen bars at airports and stuff.
Well, if I could just hook it up to it like cool, like a little bubble.
Yeah.
So like Mr. Freeze.
I'm an old soul. I just feel like I was born an old soul.
All right. So that's all I have for you.
But I want more, Marshall, more.
Oh, I could have thrown in some more, but because we didn't do any dead people. But I said to save some dead people till tomorrow. But I figured it's also President's Day.
I
So
was going to say, we're going to be back with more tomorrow. So
right, and we're
it's
already
okay.
kind of celebrating 2 dead presidents. So
There we go.
I was like, tomorrow we'll have more dead people.
Oh boy, I cannot wait. I'll try to contain my anticipation.
Because we'll be back on Tuesday.
Tuesday. Yes, we will. Well, thank you for joining us on this Monday. We hope you have a fantastic President's Day. We also hope that you enjoyed hearing from Jason Lalli. Please do reach out to him and follow him on Instagram, social media. Follow us too at On The Morning Show, or reach out to us at hello@onthemorningshow.com. We're looking for sponsors. We're looking for
I was like
sponsors.
spam. We're not looking for spam.
We're not-
It's like
we don't want
spam.
spam. I was going to say,
spam.
I was going to say advertisers and sponsors, and it came out as sponsors.
Not Spanx. You don't want Spanx either.
I like Spanx. If you want to send Spanx, I'm okay with that. But yeah, if you want to just email us and say hi, we love to hear from you. That's okay.
Exactly. What are you celebrating? Let us know. How did you celebrate President's Day? Did you do any trivia for presidents?
Marshall's like, tell me your secret.
I know. It's like, oh, what do you know that I don't?
All right. Well, have a great rest of the day. We'll be back here with you Tuesday morning, like Marshall said. Stay cool till then.
Indeed.